Hi, I'm Rowan.
And I'm Calvin.
And this is episode 12 of season 2 of In the Zone! Now today, we'll be talking about dust. No, I don't mean the thing, I mean the Twilight Zone episode. You know what, we're gonna spoil the whole thing. So you should check it out beforehand, in whatever way you'd like to.
Okay, so it's a piece of dust. The dust has 5 layers. It moves around.
Right, so it's walking around, and Rod Serling's intro says, portrait of some dust. What is it doing? It's a horrible piece of dust. Then we fade to black. Now we come up, and so the dust is walking around.
And then it's this other dust, and
Right.
they collide.
They collide, and then they're rolling around some more, and then they stop, and then someone wipes them. Then we fade to black again.
And then they end up in a sink, and they're all wet. And it's dramatic.
That was quite the twist. I didn't expect them to end up in a sink, you know?
Yeah, I know. I thought maybe they would just die, just like...
I know. Alright, I give this one 7. What do you give it?
I give this one a 10 out of 10!
Yeah! Alright. Dust. Just kidding! We got you! And that's why I have to check out the episode beforehand. We were testing you.
Yep.
Okay, so we start out in an old west village.
And then there's some dust. No, okay.
There is a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Tumbling along. And
then there's a horse, and Rod Serling says some
geese.
really bad things about the village.
Yeah, he's like, all the people are terrible.
Virus.
It's like, the people are bad and
it's
hateful.
Chunky or whatever? No.
He did that. I don't think he said it's chunky, but everyone there is getting ready for a hanging. Because they have like the pillows and the rope
this
and they're
really
testing them
jolly fat guy it comes in.
Well,
and
he's
like a bunch.
Yeah,
of
I guess he is
alcohol.
jolly. This guy, Sykes, is like a street salesman, kind of like Luke Bookman. And so he has these horses, and he's like selling stuff on the street.
Yeah, and so then he barges into the cell. He barges into the cell.
Yeah, there's
and
like a little. I
think he starts talking to Gallegos. I think it's a guy.
Gallegos. So here's the thing. So Gallegos is the guy who's going to get hanged, and he is he's in like a little cell. There's a little building devoted to the cell, and the sheriff is watching him. Do you recognize the sheriff?
Yes, looks pretty familiar. What's he from?
A Twilight Zone episode. Which one? And who was he?
All
right. Well, at least you're not like Zach who pretends like he knows. He was the psychiatrist in Perchance to Dream. Do you recognize Sykes from a first season episode?
Come
on.
Santa. I think it was a Christmas one.
There was no Christmas episode in the first season. He was the devil in Escape Clause. It was like,
he was the
I'll
devil
give you the
in
deal.
Escape Clause?
Yeah. We find out. Sykes explains, I don't really know if the expository dialogue is good or bad. It just made me feel numb, I guess. So he was talking about how the guy, what happened was he was drunk. He went drunk driving out there.
Yeah, and he hit a girl.
He hit a girl.
This is in the Old West, so it's like with wagons.
Yeah, it was a drunk wagon driving. The sheriff is just a really sad man. The sheriff is really not a fan of Sykes, and Sykes is talking about how he sold the rope for the hanging.
I don't think anyone really likes Sykes.
Sykes is just the most obnoxious guy ever. He's just he's the most horrible man, always cackling. He's just the worst. Just absolutely the worst person. So, it's the Old West. So, and always in the Old West, it's like kind of like white people and also like Hispanic people. So Gallegos, he's speaking Spanish, And it turns out Sykes is also racist because he's like, you always had a thing for foreigners and strays, Sheriff, but now you don't like your own kind. And Sheriff is like, you aren't my kind.
Yeah, Sheriff's just got like sick burns.
Absolutely. And so Sykes and the Sheriff are going back and forth. Sykes is like, who you gonna cry for today? Because he's talking about how the funeral is also gonna come through town, the funeral procession. And he's like, I have tears enough for both. So the funeral comes through, and there's the little girl, because she died. And so Sykes goes up to the mom, Mrs. Camfield. He's like, hey, things are gonna get more cheery this afternoon. We want to string them up. And then Sykes sees Gallegos' father, who is also with Gallegos' sister, who's like a child. The child mostly does the talking for the old man, because the old man doesn't speak English very well. And so he says, his heart is broken. He would give his own life in return. She's saying this to the Campfields, the father and mother of the girl who died. He goes and talks to some of the town folk there, and he's like, he didn't mean to do it. He's a lover of children. The father, let's just call him Oldman. Oldman goes up and says, "Take my lucky coin. It is said to bring good luck if you can make a wish."
They don't believe it. They're just like all laughing at
Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, the sheriff's like, that won't work, whatever. Before he leaves, the old man, like, gives a speech to the sheriff. You'd never been drunk. You'd never been... No, it doesn't sound like that. You'd never been drunk. You've never been sad. You never felt that the only way you could find happiness is at the bottom of a bottle. Well, that's what happened to my son. He never saw the girl. He also mentions in the speech that Luis was miserable because he, like, didn't have a job. He didn't have food. It was a rough patch. And of course, you know, the sheriff, he agrees, but can't really do anything, which I don't get, because isn't the sheriff the guy who's going around arresting people? Or maybe I'm wrong. Because
I don't know.
Sheriff, maybe he's just the main guy who sits in the office. What's kind of cool about this episode that could have been done better is that it kind of shows two sides of an argument. There's one side where it's saying this should be a lesson to, like, people in general, that you have to be more responsible. There are consequences for doing this. And there's also the side of you know, it's not his fault, all this stuff. It was an accident, etc. But the problem is, it doesn't really turn into that because the main proponent of this side...
You're not really on any side, though. Like,
well, the guy who wants him to be hanged, Sykes, is just the worst guy ever. So it's like, well, of course I can't respect this opinion at all, so it's not even an argument. Because Sykes is the most horrible guy. So that doesn't... It kind of works, but not really. Sykes sees the little girl, Gallegos' sister, talks to her, says, "Oh, tell your father." He's always Catholic.
Magic dust, and it'll turn hate to love.
Just for 100 pesos.
100
All right.
pesos.
And then
when she leaves, she's like, magic dust, and
then he just puts sand in a little bag and goes, "Oh, magic dust." Magic. And then we fade to black. There's this guy who comes through the jail area. His name's Rogers, and he's bringing the whole family. And the sheriff's like,
Oh yeah, he's like the
what
kids.
are you doing? So you know how you know, sheriff is handing out sick burns left and right. So for example, Rogers is like, "I'm gonna teach them that this is what happens when you kill a little girl." And he says, if you want to teach him pain, you shoot him in the arm. Bam. This little boy, who was just so obnoxious and terrible.
Are you the guy that's getting hanged?
Yeah, but it's even a more annoying was like, "Is that the man they're gonna put the rope on?"
He's like, "Yeah, I'm the man." He's like, "Is it gonna hurt?"
The Rogers family leaves. Luis says, "I am ready." Then they're over at the hanging, and all the crowd is like, "Hey, what are you waiting for? Hey, come on.
Hey, do it already.
Get it over with."
What are you doing, sheriff? And then the guys.
It's like, it's not really like a crowd murmur. It's like one person at a time. "Hey, what's going on? Hey, come on."
Yeah, and then Gallegos, or whatever his name is. Gallegos, his dad, is like coming. He's like magic dust.
Right. He comes to buy the magic dust.
Or he goes
from
to
Sykes.
it. Yeah. And he's like, "You sure this will help me?" I'm sure.
So he says, "Sprinkle it on the crowd, and then they'll feel empathy for the son." And then Sykes, or no, not Sykes, Oldman has this moment where he's like, "Wait a minute, you sold the rope to hang him."
"I'm just a simple businessman."
And he's like, "Okay," buys it. Oh, by the way, he like got all these people to sell their wagon, sell their horse for the 100 pesos.
Yeah.
And he tells all this to Sykes. Sykes is like, "Whatever." He's just the worst. Just the worst man. Just cares about himself. It's like, it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, at the hanging, people are still like, "Hey, do it. Come on, man."
And then he's like, "Stop! I've got magic! Magic!
You must heed to the magic! The magic is for love!" And then everyone's like, they like laugh at him, which, I mean, yeah.
Haha, you dummy.
Haha, you're dummy. Haha, you think it's magic. Haha, you're dummy. And then they hear like the trap door going downside sound. No! And then the way that they build up the suspense is very well done.
He like has his eyes closed and
then they like first they cut to Sykes looking like and then he looks up and the rope is broken. The guy is alive. Under. He's right there. Oh, I'm alright. Just fell down. Ba da 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 ba da 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 da. Sykes is like, wait a minute. This couldn't have happened. It was a new rope. The sheriff says it's up to the parents of the little girl who died, whether or not they want to try again. Eventually, they decide he suffered enough. Yeah. One victim is enough, which is, a good point.
Everyone goes home.
Right, and then the sheriff is down there talking to old men and Gallegos.
It's like, it really was magic, I tell you.
Right, and then Luis is like, I'm free! And then the sheriff goes, kind of brings it on the downer. He goes, are any of us three free? Sorry, I messed it up. Are any of us free? They're like, okay, well, thanks for that thought. Let's go home. The sheriff is so over the top. The sheriff is just like the most over the top, like, philosophical sad man. It's, it's just like not the way that people are in real life. So then they leave, and they're laughing. Oh, I can't believe it. But then, bum, 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 bum. Here comes Sykes, who's like, what happened there? That was a new rope. He looks at the rope, he's amazed. A new rope. Then he has some money, and then these kids go up, just gives it to the kids.
He's like, well, take it already.
And then he's like, and then they leave, magic, they take the money, yeah? He's like, it must have been magic.
Magic. And then, like, Rod Sterling kind of does a little conclusion where it's like just cuts to the picture of the rope.
And he says something like, well, maybe there is magic in the hearts of kind people. And then it's the end. So, here's my question. I don't really get it. Why did he give them the money?
'Cause, I don't know, they were begging. Maybe he finally felt sympathy for once.
But why would he finally feel sympathy? Why would he go from the worst, least empathetic person ever to like a normal level sympathy human? That doesn't make sense. There are a lot of things.
Maybe just what he went through kind of like changed him.
Well, what did he go through? I don't buy it. I don't know. It's like
maybe he just wants to understand like why people like give money like that.
I don't know why he would have that feeling all of a sudden, because he was just like the most horrible guy. I don't get it.
I guess we'll never know. Simpson socks.
There's a lot of problems with this episode. One of the things that I do like is that who knows if it's magic? Maybe it was a coincidence and then people being nice. That's what I like about it, because it's like, well, yeah, nothing happened, but that rope could not have broken. So I think that's really an interesting, one of the best aspects of the episode. The guy who plays the old man, who is an old man, he's really good.
He's good at
he really stands out.
Yeah.
And it's really great. He's the only.
That being said, he's like the best actor.
Definitely, really the only actor who has a performance of note in the episode.
The guy who played Psych has a really good performance of being a bad person.
I guess maybe if it was supposed to be funny.
Anyway,
I don't know.
I give it. A 6.5.
6.5 from Calvin. Don't mean to be a downer like the sheriff, but I'm gonna go a little lower than that. Really, I kind of know the zone that I'm in. 5 for Dust.
Oh, and that's the end of In the Zone.
Not forever, because we'll be back next week, and next week we're gonna be talking about the episode Back There, and we'll see ya over there then.